Abuja.
Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja, your number one general TV magazine program here on AIT. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Hauwa Momoh. Good morning, Naibia. You may be wondering why I'm greeting you in my local dialect. Well, on the 21st of February 2017, the world once again celebrated the International Mother Language Day under the theme Towards Sustainable Futures Through Multilingual Education. The essence of this annual celebration is to promote the preservation and protection of all languages used by people of the world. Well, the day is, however, set aside to celebrate all languages spoken all over the world with the aim of promoting the rights of the people and use indigenous languages, otherwise known as mother tongue. Well, as a means of encouraging integration in all aspects of public life, particularly in education. Well, so Dateline Abuja went into the streets to seek the opinion of people on how important knowing our mother language is. Let's take a listen.
Mr. Moses.
What state are you from?
Kaduna State.
So how do you say good morning in your local dialect?
Ya Shipu, Ya Vanu.
So what's the importance of speaking your local dialect, your mother's tongue?
My language, because of I can speak it so that people will know that I'm from Kaduna State. I'm from Zongo Kataf local government. That's why I'm speaking my language.
The importance of speaking my mother's language. Number one, it helps against cultural extinction. We can see that this generation is trying to elude from the cultural values of our forefathers. So many people are not proud to speak their language. If it continues like this in the next 20 years, you will not have a Yoruba man on the street. You will not find an Igbo man on the street. Secondly, it aids in the formation of social groups like the Oduduwa, Indigo cultural group. They won't come into existence without their mother tongue. And thirdly, it is a medium for acquiring original ideas. You can easily differentiate from a man who lived with his forefathers, who lived with his grandfather, from a man who lived in the city because of the different ideas they share. The original ideas come from our mother tongue. Please teach your children how to speak your language. If you don't know how to speak it, it is time for you. You can employ a teacher. Employ somebody who will teach them how to speak your mother tongue. Thank you very much.
Hello, good morning and welcome to Dateline Abuja on AIT. Well, today on Dateline On Monday, 20th February, Nigeria joined the world to once again mark the World Day of Social Justice, which was themed Preventing Conflict and Sustaining Peace Through Decent Work. Well, the World Day of Social Justice is annually observed on February 20th to encourage people to look at how social justice affects poverty eradication, and it also focuses on the goal of achieving full employment and support for social integration. Well, so today on Dateline Abuja, we'll be discussing on entrepreneurship as a means of tackling unemployment. But before then, let's take a listen at the stories that made rounds this week. The government activities at the Federal Secretariat Complex, Abuja, have been grounded for nearly 1 week due to power outage over electricity bill in excess of 120 million naira. The lack of electricity at the Secretariat Complex has negatively affected several government activities, with some either postponed or cancelled outrightly. The affected phase in the Federal Secretariat provides accommodation for the Ministries of Women Affairs, Niger Delta Affairs, Labour and Productivity, part of Health, as well as several others, federal government departments and agencies. However, the Abuja Electricity Distribution Company, AEDC, said the decision to disconnect the Federal Secretariat was taken as a part of the company's debt recovery drive. President Muhammadu Buhari has thanked millions of Nigerians who have been sending good wishes and praying for his health and well-being in mosques and churches throughout the country, according to his spokesperson. The president's special advisor on media and publicity, Femi Adesina, in a statement said the president was immensely grateful for the prayers, love and concern, and said there should be no cause for worry. Mr. Femi Adesina, in a brief statement, said that during the president's normal annual checkup, tests showed that he needed a longer period of rest, necessitating the president staying longer than originally planned, which led to the president extending his vacation earlier. But however, the president is said to be hale and healthy. Well, the program is still Dateline Abuja. Next on our lineup is our A story, where we'll be discussing on entrepreneurship as a means of tackling unemployment in Nigeria, most especially for the youths. Well, entrepreneurship is actually an important factor in the development of the nation or any nation, as entrepreneurs are, however, responsible for taking calculated risk that opens door to higher levels of economic growth. Entrepreneurs are also believed to be the veritable backbone on which the world and modern ideas continue to develop, and if it weren't for entrepreneurs, the world would never know such things as the internet, electricity, blogs, well, just to name a few. Entrepreneurship, however, enables individuals to use their potentials and energies to create wealth through goods and services creation. It is recognized as an important economic activity that is involved in providing unique products, and being an entrepreneur have been playing the role of employment, generation, wealth creation, poverty alleviation, among others. Entrepreneurship is therefore considered to be the engine for growth and development in developing countries like Nigeria, as unemployment continues to hurt the young generation. Engaging youth in efforts to address unemployment challenges is more relevant and important than ever. Well, today on Dateline Abuja, we'll be discussing with an economist on social justice. This year's theme for social justice in Nigeria is preventing conflict and sustaining peace through decent work. Well, my guest on Dateline Abuja for this week is Prince Chudi Chukwuani. He's an economist, a real estate developer, a farmer, an entrepreneur, and a politician. So many things in one. You're welcome to Dateline Abuja, sir.
Good morning.
Okay, well, today we'll be discussing social justice. I'm sure we all know that this year Nigeria joined the rest of the world in talking or celebrating social justice, and they actually tagged this theme for this year as preventing conflict and sustaining peace through decent work. So as an entrepreneur, that's why you're invited to Dateline to talk about the expertise and your experience so far in as an entrepreneur. So first things, I'd like to know you to tell us what social justice is in your own terms.
Thank you very much. I believe the theme of this year's social justice celebration is quite apt, and it captures the real essence of social justice. From my perspective and from the universal perspective of social justice actually means working for a living wage, dignity of labor, that is somebody's ability to be able to get work and earn a good living and enjoy what they are doing. That is the whole essence of social justice. That is from my own little definition. So which means dignity of labor, one, and also working for a living wage, which means you will work and you will earn income that you will be able to sustain yourself and your immediate family.
Okay, wow. If we're actually saying that we're actually getting funds that we can manage to sustain our family and ourselves, that means Nigeria is not qualified to say we're actually celebrating social justice, because for the minimum wage that is still undecided yet by the federal government, the civil servants are not happy with their salaries. What do you have to say on this?
Yeah, what I would say is that generally, Nigeria on the social index measurement of our country, we are at the lower bottom when you measure us across the rest of the world. Our, as you said, the minimum wage has not yet been decided. Even the one that is operating cannot sustain, somebody to live a decent life. If you take the most remote part of Nigeria, based on the current conditions we have on the ground. So in terms of that, in the index of human development, we are very low. And those are the things that we need to work hard to be able to, because most people have it wrong. A society does not survive when you can count the number of companies that are doing well on the 5 fingers, of your hand. That is not a society that is doing well. A society that is doing well is a society where you have broadened the economic base and where you have created an opportunity whereby new entrants will find it easy to create something for themselves, to do it and be able to earn decent money. And that is what the Americans have mastered. And that is what has simply set America light years apart from the rest of the world. And that's why they call it dream, the American dream, where you can go and make it. Because they have created a society without any putting all manners of restrictions and impositions on a human being. You can develop an idea, actually take it and get credit from a financial institution to pursue that idea and be able to actually make something out of that idea. Typical example, the billionaires of Facebook, the billionaires of WhatsApp and all these internet sites. These are young people that came up with an idea and they found themselves in a society that provided the necessary tools that they required in order to expand on their ideas. Nigeria have a lot of those young people. What is lacking is that we do not have a platform that will enable these our young people to be able to do something out of the idea that they have. They find it so difficult. I can speak from my own simple, experience. If I can find it so difficult to get a federal government funded credit, I can imagine what will happen to a young graduate that just graduated, bubbling with ideas, and he's entering into the marketplace and he wants to create something, go into business to employ other fellow graduates like him. So I can imagine what he
how
will be going
frustrating
through.
to be.
Yes.
Well, how is social justice now related to poverty and unemployment?
Yeah, social justice is something that if you look, the leadership of countries, those are the things they mostly campaign on. If you watch the American campaign that just ended, the central theme, the fundamental of that campaign was social justice. Donald Trump said that he was coming to cater for those that have been left out of the economic prosperity that is going on in America. That is the middle class and the people in the back countries of America. And he said he's coming to make sure that they participate in the economic prosperity of the nation. So you will see, when you actually look at it, that has to deal with social justice. He's coming to give social justice to those that felt that they have been left behind. So the social justice is the central theme, of governance in the modern world. So it is not different, because if you look at when the current president was coming in, he campaigned on social justice.
Yes, he did.
And those were his campaign. And he even went a bit further to say that he will be paying people in order to meet that social justice element of his campaign, that he will be paying those that are unemployed. I believe they said they were paying 5,000, every month just to help them out. So that is campaigning on the social justice. So social justice is the fundamental part of any nation building. Because if you have a nation where you don't have social justice, what it leads to is conflict. And that is why this year's team has been able to stitch them together. Get people to get a living wage, get a decent job, and that prevents conflict. That prevents kidnapping. Because that is rampant now. About all the other forms of social vice.
Well, in other words, it's unemployment.
Yes.
The more unemployed people we have on the streets, the more violence we have. What role does entrepreneurship play in tackling unemployment?
Yes, we play a very critical role. I am surprised that it's only in this country that they have not been able to realize that the greatest employers of labor are the small business, not the big business. The big businesses, the Dangotes of this world, and the what do you call him again? Otadala and the rest of them. They are all automated. They have automated system. They hardly employ people. The people that actually employ people is if you have 1 million small businesses that are employing 20 people each. That is 20 million youths being employed. And we have the capacity in this nation to be able to create on a yearly basis 1 million new businesses that will be able to employ 20 people. We have that capacity. And if we can do that, you will find out that the whole issue of unemployment, our productivity rate will increase. Nigerians are very hard-working people.
Yes, we are.
They just want to be given that opportunity to be able to exhibit their talent. And everybody recognizes that we have it. If you go outside Nigeria and look at our fellow Nigerians that are working as doctors, nurses, engineers, even cleaners abroad, they are doing extremely well. Their productivity rate is one of the highest, in the world. So we are highly productive people. So when you have high productivity and you are creating employment, and you are creating decent wage, and decent work, you will find out that all those issues of conflict that are rearing their heads, in all parts of our country will all come down. You will not be having all that craziness going on in the northeast called Boko Haram. Neither will you be having things called the Avengers. You won't be having the kidnappings that are going on in the southeast now creeping into Abuja, because I understand that it's in Abuja, Kaduna, and everywhere now. All those things will come down because nobody that has a decent work will want to leave that work in order to start doing one chance. People want stability. They want to know that they can go to work, earn their salary, come back and be able to pay their rent and take care of their immediate needs.
Okay, so from your personal experience, you've just told us right now, and this is not assumption. You're saying it happens to you.
To me, yes.
And so you're saying right now, they just come out to say they're going to help, but they don't help, meaning that you're on your own.
You're on your own.
Okay, so what is your counsel?
My counsel is this. I would like to counsel the government of Nigeria. If you be honest to the people of Nigeria, if truly that you want to set up a development fund and you want to use this to empower small businesses, then enforce the terms of that fund that you have set up. Create an enforcement arm. Create an ombudsman where people can go and lay their complaints and it will be followed up so that that thing can be enforced. That is what other nations do. I'm not saying that this thing is only peculiar to Nigerian banks. All banks around the world, they feed on what we call free lunch, free funds. Okay, so if they can have access to free funds, that is the easiest business for a bank to do. What is the difference between us and the rest of the world is that the other parts of the world have an enforcement arm that forces the banks to comply with their national economic programs. And also they have an effective court system that when such matters arise, it will be resolved in the court swiftly. The banks always ride on that notion that if you take them to court, you will be buried in court for the next 20 years.
Wow.
Our system has to wake up. We are killing ourselves. Judges, wake up. When you see a case between a citizen of Nigeria and a bank, handle that case, finish it within a month. You are helping your own fellow Nigerians. You are helping to stop insecurity, kidnapping in Nigeria. Because all the banks are banking on is that they can afford to tie you up in court for 20 years and nothing happens.
Because it case
you know,
slow.
yeah, it will be slow. You know, you will see they will hire SAN. The SAN will come with all manners of things, you know, that are completely just because the courts must sit up. If you look at the American jurisprudence, they don't take nonsense from banks, especially when it has to do with banker-customer relationship. They don't take nonsense from banks because the whole idea is to get the economy going. The idea is not to make somebody indolent, to make somebody lazy not to work. Once somebody has presented himself that he wants to work, the idea is to assist that person to work. You know, so those are the responsibilities we have. The government, because when I complain, CBN told me there's nothing they can do. So why are you CBN? Why are you licensing banks?
Why did you send me back to the commercial banks?
Why are you licensing them? What are you regulating if you don't have an enforcement unit? Why don't you create, when you create 420 billion agricultural fund, why can't you use 5% of that money? Hire crack people like from EFCC, an enforcement unit that will enforce, make sure that the thing is being used for the intended purpose and that complaints are handled swiftly. What is wrong in that? Those are the gaps that are missing in the system. And those are my free advice I'm giving them that they can do in order to help the country.
Free and very important. Okay, what for startup businesses? You know, for you to approach CBN, that means your business is in hundreds of millions, I assume. So what about startup businesses with just hundreds of thousands of naira?
Yes, the same thing goes, because the hundreds and thousands of naira businesses, you can still have what we call cooperatives, you know, that can handle that. All of them, you know, you have the fund was set up that microfinance banks can also access the fund. And the microfinance banks can deal with those startup businesses that are in that region. But the same game that the big commercial banks are playing, the microfinance banks are also playing the same game. So when you have an environment where nobody is accountable to law, nobody can be punished, everybody takes everything for granted, you know, they don't even respect court orders. You know, so what do you have? You have anarchy, you have confusion. And that is why we have the type of unemployment that we have in the nation. Nothing is working.
Do you think, last one, do you think that's the increase, that's why a lot of people are going into this multi-level marketing business, Ponzi schemes and all that, falling victims?
Yes.
Because they just want to access funds.
Yes,
funds to
do something.
Yes.
And then you will find out that those are short-term funds at a very, very high rate, you know, and you cannot achieve anything meaningful, you know. If you can get all these small microfinance banks to truthfully and honestly implement and guide their customers to access some of these development funds that are existing and use it for the intended purpose and be able to have what we have, workout solutions. Because in some businesses, you know, the business might not go out the way it was intended to. That's what we have, what we call workout. The bank will provide support and work out, you know, and then be able to make what we call above average profit. Our own, the banks want to make zillions of naira overnight. The society cannot survive on that. And then the banks behave as if they are not Nigerian banks. They behave as if the country is about to collapse in the next 2 years. So the bank will tell you, we cannot give you long-term credit, we can only give you credit for 2 years because the country, Nigeria, is going to finish in 2 years. So I've never seen such a situation.
Well, that's another topic for another time. Well, thank you so much for your time. I wish we could go on and on. There's so much to talk about, and we wish Nigeria, as they celebrate the World Social Justice Day and preventing conflicts and sustaining peace through decent work, in quotes. We hope that this is actually practicable. Thank you so much, Prince Chudi, for your time.
Thank you very much, and I thank you people for this program, and I hope you can be able to do it more. Let our people get informed, because the more people that are informed, the better for us. That's when people will start asking questions and start holding people to account. And also, I hope the regulators are also listening so that they can buckle up and do the work in which they are earning a lot of money, our taxpayers' money. They should be able to do their work.
Thank you so much for your time.
You.
You're watching Dateline Abuja. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. Well, based on entrepreneurship's central role in economic development, respective governments, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, and other stakeholders should promote its development in order to reap its full benefits. And that's a wrap on Dateline Abuja. For this week, please keep it there to me, same time, same station. You can follow us on our social media page showing right now on your TV screen. Till I come your way, same time, same station, I'm Hauwa Momoh. Good morning and Okila.